want to double back and talk about Terrence Crawford for just a minute. We all know that Terrence Crawford has been in the welterweight division for, I'd say, roughly about 3 years. In the division, I think his record is 6 or 7-0, all knockouts, maybe 8-0 at this point. He's knocked out everything he's fought at welterweight since Jeff Horn. Now, the people who his detractors are going to say he knocked out nobody. That wasn't Errol Spence Jr. he knocked out. That wasn't Shawn Porter. That wasn't Keith Thurman. That wasn't Manny Pacquiao. That wasn't your Dennis Ugas. So basically it was nobody on the PBC side. And I guess by nobody being on the PBC side, that means he knocked out a bunch of nobodies to some people. But the end of the day is results are the results. And you fight the guys that get in the ring, and he stopped all of them. And there's been a laundry list of excuses or attempts to discredit every single win he's gotten. Not only at 47, but just period. I mean, he beat nobody at 47, and now he's beat nobody, period. And when you say nobody, that means nobody, because you can't beat nobody and somebody at the same time. So, for me, I try not to do that for any fighter. When I used to hear people saying that about Deontay Wilder, and then my response was, well, why isn't everybody else doing the same thing he's done? A lot of these guys he fought, other guys weren't knocking him out, left and right. So, I mean, what's different about him? So, with all of that being said, I like to give fighters credit for what they do against the guys they actually get in the ring, especially when they're not just straight tomato cans, so to speak. And my question that I pose once again is, who can Terrence Crawford beat other than Errol Spence Jr., because that's the fight that's not happening, that he's really gonna get credit for beating? Because if he was fighting Keith Thurman next, the excuses, if he beats Keith Thurman, if he stops Keith Thurman, is that Manny Pacquiao fight took a lot out of Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman hasn't been the same since the injuries. Keith Thurman came into the fight off a loss. Go to Shawn Porter. If he beats Shawn Porter, and regardless of how it happens, if he stops him, it's going to be, well, look at all the other guys that already beat Shawn Porter. Yeah, he stopped him, but, Shawn Porter's, been in the game a while, and he's been in tough fights, and it take a lot out of you, this, that, and the other. And it's going to be, so we don't know what Shawn Porter really had after the Errol Spence fight, because all he did was fight Sebastian Formella. And then Conor Benn went and blew out Sebastian Formella too. So, so it's all, if you don't want to give a fighter credit and you want to be a detractor, you can break down. You can do the same thing just about every fighter across the board. If you really don't want to give a fighter credit for his accomplishments, if he fought Manny Pacquiao, we already know. It goes without saying. The man's 42 years old now, been in all kind of wars, already been stopped a few times, and the last time we saw him stopped, some people thought he was dead. So, there's a lot to look at there in terms of, will a guy get credit? Your Dennis Ugas already been beaten by several guys. Didn't look the best in the fight in which he won the regular title. So it's just a litany of excuses if you don't want to give credit. I try not to get in that mode of trying to strip credit away from a fighter, because I can't get my ass in there and do it. You know what I'm saying? So I give them credit for what they're doing in the ring, especially when it doesn't take a lot to look and see what the other people were doing against these same guys. If you want to talk about Jeff Horn, we know how great Manny Pacquiao is. Manny Pacquiao went to war with Jeff Horn. Life and death. Regardless of who you think won the fight, Bud Crawford's fight didn't look nothing like that. Styles may fight, but my point is, if you want to just act like, it was just this guy. Well, maybe it was just that guy, but everybody else not doing it to that guy like that. So, that's all I got to say. All I got to say is just give a guy credit, and that's all these guys. Give these fighters credit for what they can do, what they're doing once they get in the ring. Sometimes these fighters aren't the reason that they're not fighting certain people, but at the end of the day, I want to see the best fighters fighting each other. And regardless of who's fighting who and when and where and why, I want to give people credit for what they do versus the little competition that they can get in the ring with. D-Lo 404 Boxing. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.